no lab. Okay. Module 13 is on row level security, talking about how do you secure your data at the row level. Okay. So we'll look at security at low level. We'll look at the static method, and we also look at dynamic method. All right, the first one is security in Power BI. What can you use to secure in Power BI? We can secure our data in Power BI, okay, by ensuring that when we share them to Active Directory, users, and group. So the security overview of Power BI is that you can secure your reports and your workspace by sharing them to Active Directory, users, and group. So when you talk about Active Directory, users, and group, you are talking about users who, in a layman term, when you talk about Active Directory is what is called identity and authentication management solution. How do you identify people? How do you identify people? Okay, how do you ensure that their username and password is correct? So that is I am. So when we have users, so in Active Directory, which is an example of I am, you have users created and groups created. For example, you can have people who are doing similar job role being created under the same group. Maybe people who are sales, okay, who are doing sales related job will be created in sales group, okay, and then people who are doing engineering related work will probably be in engineering group. Why you create group is to make it easier to manage user, okay. So you can have people in engineering group, you can create engineering group. People who are in HR, there can be another group for them called HR group. Okay, so inside of Active Directory, users are created and groups are created. So when a group is created, then you'll be adding users that you have created to the groups. All the users who are doing sales related job will be in sales group. Those who are doing engineering work, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, metallurgical engineers, we put in engineering group. People who are in HR, okay, like back office, HR, payee or payroll will be in HR group. So based on these groupings that you have, you can also secure your data. So you can ensure that certain users don't have, or certain group or users cannot read some information under employees, under sales, and under product table. All right, so to achieve this, we can actually use what is called the static method by using a fixed value in our DAX query. DAX query is the data analysis query. Okay, data analysis query, we can create roles. You can create roles and then manage your roles. So you can create a role. You have roles here. You have automotive role, clothing, game, sport, and you can specify the table. So in this case, we are having a table called sales, and we want to ensure that the only people who can have access to maybe um, to a particular table is the people in departments called game. Okay, for example, here we've chosen the table. The table is sales, and we are saying that the only people who can access this table called sales are people who are in department called game. So this is a way by which you can also ensure that anybody who is not in this department cannot view information of sales. So that is one of the way you can secure your data. All right, dynamic method. Dynamic method means that the people who can access, you are not stating them out. In a static method, you specify this you are certain, you specify a specific name. There's a specific department name or probably a specific employee's name provided who can access certain rows of data in this department called table. Whereas dynamic, in dynamic, you do not need to put a particular name. Rather than specify a particular name, you simply use user, okay, use things like user principal name. So user principal name is what you have used in this case, and that means it is not a static value that you have provided. So in that case, you have not provided a static value. So the user principal name will compare the email from the employees table with the email that the user used to log in to Power BI service. So this user principal, it means is going to compare the email address, because we are saying that only make this available to employees based on the email address that they use to log in. So with this, it's saying that the email address that will be used to determine who can access this table will be based on the email address that was used to log into Power BI service. So it depends. So it will be changing. It is not a fixed name. Okay. So as long as somebody has access to Power BI service, that person can actually be able to will have the role, will have the right to be able to access the tables that is being provisioned. Okay, says which function will tell you the log on user in a Power BI service. To know who log in, it is this user principal name, and that was why it was used here. Okay, to be able to restrict access to certain details based on the person who logs in. So to know who log into Power BI service, we use user principal name. All right. Where can you test your where can you test your RLX? Where can you test your role level security? RLX means role level security. Where can you test your role? Where can you test the role level security? A low level security is a way by which you ensure that the roles that a user will see will depend on the particular role that that user is assigned. Okay, if the user is not assigned the appropriate role, the user cannot see set some certain roles of data. It depends on the role that a user is assigned that will determine the roles he can see. So we can test our role level security by using both the Power BI and also in Power BI desktop and Power BI service. Both the cloud and the on-premise Power BI we can use to achieve that. All right, that ends this lesson. So before then, let's just look at before we end eventually, let's look at this. Okay, this is my okay. Let's go to Power BI desktop. Got it. All right, so this is my Power BI desktop. If you go up here, okay. So if you come, so you see we have clipboard, data, query. Okay, let's come to this. Looking for where we have the okay. All right, so you can see under modeling, manage roles, view as. So from here, I can click on manage roles. So this is where we do the security. So you can also do it on your own computer. Please try to do it on your computer. So come to modeling. Okay, select any of the, irrespective of the report you have open. Just come to modeling and click on manage role. Manage role. Are you there? So from here, you can create a role. and provide the name for the role. You can say, okay, manager's role. Based on this table, now we can decide, based on this table, who are the people that we want to have. So we must provide an entity ID. Filter the data that this role can see by entering a dark filter expression that return true or false. For example, we put this equals to this. Okay, so in this place, what are the information we have there? Okay, so here we can decide to use the principal. We mention email address equals to user principal name. Okay, so this is a function. All right, and that means how we want to filter the data. This will, okay, filter the data that this role may see by entering this value, entity ID. Okay, so if I look at this, okay, add filter. All right, so these are the available filters. So I cannot use, in this case, email. Okay, so I have to come here, click on this, add filter. Okay, so I can decide to say, okay, country. Let me start again. So I click here, then select country, and then which country can this person see? I can provide the value. Okay, let's say I have Canada there. I want to restrict the person to see only Canada. Okay, and then I can come here. Let me change this, rename it to, let's say, Canada Manager CA. Okay, Canada. Okay, it's fine. So I can click on save. That means I have created a role, and those who have that role, they can only see the information of on this table. They can see information on this table, okay, but they will only see for Canada only, where the country is Canada. So if they want to do anything, if they can't see for other countries, they only see for Canada. So that is one of the ways you have been able to restrict all other records. So in here we have okay, so you can see we have Canada, we have Mexico. So based on my manager role, based on the security I've done here, the country that will be available to those who are members of that particular role will be only Canada. They will not see all others. And I can do that not only for that, I can create more. I can create another one again and put different countries, specify that they have to see only a particular the one meant for their country. If I specify Mexico, okay, I say Mexico managers, that means in a financial report that has all the countries, I want to make sure that this person who is having this role is only able to see filter, only able to see information that relate to the country of his or her place of work. So you can click on this. So you now have multiple roles that has been created. Okay. Any question on this? Have you been able to try to create on your own too, so you can create also on your own these different roles available? Okay. All right. So that ends this course.